Also, Supreme Court came down, in the first time since 1973, with a partial abortion ban.
5-4.
5-4 was the Supreme Court vote. Now, it's shocking to me. This is the first time since 1973. Everyone agrees partial birth abortion is horrific. It's horrific for anyone who has to decide it. 1.3 million abortions done in America every year. 2,000 partial birth abortions. What is that? 0.1%. 0.1. This is just a way.
That represents 2,000 lives.
Right. Well, that represents 2,000 women who were at risk, and this was their only option. This is not no one electively chooses to have this kind of abortion.
In the Partial Abortion Act, there is an exemption where if the woman's life were at risk,
not her health,
because people could probably claim and have their doctors vouch for them that it would cause undue stress, anxiety. There's a lot of blurriness there.
Most women would not want to have, after the first 3 months, most women would not want to have an abortion.
Right. This is not an elective abortion.
I made a mistake. The worry about this is not the partial birth abortion. Well, yes, it is. But the worry, one of the dissenters, it was Ruth Bader Ginsburg, said, and I'm going to read it because she said the majority opinion cannot be understood in anything other than an effort to chip away at a right declared again and again by the court, and that is Roe v. Wade. They're afraid that this begins to chip away.
And it does.
But this was
That's
also
what the NRA says, too, though, about gun control. They also say that if you ban certain guns, then you're chipping away at the Second Amendment. Everybody has the same argument.
But this was this was kind of a bipartisan effort, actually. I mean, in terms of, there were 16 Democrats in the Senate that voted for this ban. There were 63 Democrats in the House that voted for this ban. So it kind of crosses.
It's women. I think women, we are half the population, and we can have our bodies legislated by the government. If men could get pregnant, abortion would be a sacrament.
But I think this is not. I think we have to be careful because this is not a ban on abortion. I think what happened yesterday was actually probably more representative of what the majority of Americans want. We are in a country where people, not myself, because I'm, anti-abortion. I think that people want the right to their abortions. Women want the right to their own bodies in this country. I don't believe that
women's reproductive freedom.
Right. But most of the people, 2/3 of this country, do not want partial birth abortions to be legal.
Elizabeth,
so it's representative of our country.
0.15%.
2,000 lives. We count the lives
but listen, 0.15%, and mostly the baby is severely ill or the mother's life is at risk. Nobody voluntarily goes in and says, please give me a partial birth abortion because I would like to physically injure, and it is a grotesque procedure.
They remove the child and crush the skull.
But usually the woman's life is at risk, Elizabeth.
But there's an exemption here. So if the woman's life is at risk, it won't even be, it's a moot issue. Correct.
But why is it brought up? Because it's a way to get in to start eroding Roe versus Wade.
That is what the scare is. The scare is, does this begin, is this the slippery slope? And we don't know. We will see.
It's as if the women's movement never happened.
I don't think it's that. I mean,
I certainly do. It is frightening to me.
You never thought it would be overturned, but it probably will be at some point.
There was a time when
the Brady Bill was overturned.
Well, there was the difference is, we are half the population, and there was a women's movement, and feminism really was the reason that this bill, women's reproductive rights, ever came into the forefront and was entered and was constitutionally upheld since '73. Right. The women's movement now, ladies, we need to get together because we are on the precipice of going backwards, not forwards. And
I'm all for women's rights. I mean, I've sat on a Title IX committee. I just don't believe that partial birth abortion should be legal. I don't think it should. If the woman's life is not at risk.
But you usually say that government should stay out of people's business. This is an example of that. This should be between a woman and a doctor, not the government. Right.
I also believe in the right to life, and I believe that this is a grotesque way of
the baby is usually deformed or dead.
If I were going to give birth and I knew that I was having a baby that was going to have a deformity or some sort of illness, I would not.
Not a limb
missing. I'm talking something
severely.
It would not make me want to abort that child. I believe that child.
But guess what? That's your choice.
I'm just saying me.
That's your choice. Right. And every woman deserves that choice.
Nobody's saying that you must or you should or you shouldn't. What they're saying is choice.
It's a legal situation. I don't don't necessarily think this is a slippery slope. I think it's a valid concern.
And you know what concerns me? How many of the Supreme Court judges are Catholic, Barbara? 5. 5. 5 are Catholic. Separation of church and state.
However,
America.
every one of them, when they were going through their Senate confirmation hearings, said the fact that of my religion does not mean that I will vote a particular way because of my religion. So we cannot say that they did it because they're Catholic. It is interesting that they're Catholic.
I think it's difficult to separate your faith from your everyday life.
Christian.
I think it's very difficult to do that.
They're able to.
From your everyday life, but not hopefully from the foundation of our government, separation of church and state, judicial, legislative, executive.
Right, they're all meant to
judicial
check
now.
one another.
Right, judicial compromised. Alberto Gonzalez, Karl Rove's missing emails. Compromised that one. Now we got 2/3 left. Let's see what we'll do about that. We're going to take a break and be right back with more hot topics after this. Don't go away.